Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Beaver Banter. I am one of your two co hosts, Ian Rivers, here with CJ Baumgartner, and a special guest joining us today, sophomore defensive lineman, NSIC Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Hansen. Marcus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm getting super excited for this weekend already.
Yeah, it's huge.
I
mean, it's huge for this weekend and everything that's going on. And I guess, kind of quick reaction before we get going. Just what was that game like, and what was it like post game as you guys got back up to Bemidji?
Yeah, obviously it was a long trip. We had to fly this time, so it was just a great feeling. Like, we got back to the locker room. We found it. Well, obviously we won, and then we found out that we were able to host the second round, which is something Bemidji State's never done before, and something we as a team kind of set out to do was host another playoff game again. And we didn't get the opportunity first round, but it's amazing that we could do it second round and for the first time in program history.
It's awesome, and we look forward to kind of diving in with Ian. Yeah, go. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say we touched on that a little bit. We just recorded an episode earlier today. It hasn't come out yet, but it's an unconventional way, a little bit of hosting that playoff game. Some other things kind of had to bounce your way, but it's more fun now. Hopefully, getting to host it in the second weekend, something like you said that's never been done before, and another chance to make history by potentially getting to the NCAA quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just people on this team we keep doing first. It was the first time Bemidji State ever made the playoffs the first year I was here, and then last year it was the first time we ever hosted a round, and now again this year it's the first time we ever hosted the second round. So it's just like things keep stacking up for this team, and I like where they're heading right now.
Awesome. And why don't we kind of go all the way back here, and we'll kind of get back into this game. But first, Marcus, let's just start out. Where are you from, and kind of just introduce yourself to people who maybe are getting to know you for the first time.
Absolutely. So I went to high school in Waseca, Minnesota. That's where I grew up. We're the Blue Jays down there. I've always played football. From day one, flag football, running around the gym floors, to my first padded practices, a third grader, to finally doing tackle football as a fourth grader, all the way through high school. I've always loved it. It's always something I known I want to do and be great at. Honestly, I've just had people encouraging me all along the way to keep doing what I'm doing. I've played D-line my whole life as well, so it's nothing new to me. And obviously, being an undersized guy, it's not the easiest, but all my coaches, my teammates, my family have been super supportive, my efforts and trying to be the best I can be.
Is there ever a point in your football career, whether it's when you were a little kid, whether it's going through middle school, high school, was there a point where you guys like, I'm pretty good at football and like I could maybe do this thing at the next level?
I guess I've kind of always had that sense. My coaches, were always super supportive of me, and they're like, "Hey, Marcus, football is really your thing." And they just kind of, I don't want to say forced, but just kind of drove it home that, if I really worked at it, I could be something I could be great at. And obviously, even through high school, all the awards show, all the recognition, even through like scouting and all that too, kind of start to add up quickly where you fall on the whole football skill and stuff. So, I guess this is something I kind of always knew.
And
I think a lot of people growing up, they have that mentality. I know I played basketball in high school, and I think it was like 10th grade where I was like, man, I think I better give up on my D1 dreams. They were a long shot. But what was the recruiting process like? Did you get a lot of offers? What led you to Bemidji State?
That was a very unique situation, I'm going to say, for a lot of people in my class. So my class was the class affected by COVID, probably one of the most recruiting wise. So a lot of people weren't given opportunities classes before had. So my freshman year, I actually was planning, my senior year of high school, I was actually planning on participating in track in college, and I actually didn't think I was going to do football. And then COVID rolled around, and money kind of got pulled away from men's track programs nationally. So a few of the schools I was looking at kind of lost interest because of that reason. And then I almost had to restart my recruiting venture all over again, which if a lot of people don't know, isn't very easy because you've cut off relations with a lot of coach, and then you have to go back kind of on your hands and knees and kind of asking for a spot on the team. But thankfully, it was Coach Bish at the time, gave me an opportunity here at Bemidji State. It wasn't, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't my first option. But you know, I don't think it's a lot of people's first options to come up here. But you know, you always learn to love it. I love it here now. I honestly wouldn't trade it for the world. I love the people, I love the community, and I love my teammates, man. It just feels like a second home with me right now.
What was did you like get to do a visit? Because like you said, it was during COVID and you kind of had some things change. Did you ever get a chance to visit, or when you got up here for practice, was it pretty much your first time up in Bemidji?
No, I came on a visit. I checked out the campus, you know, I checked out the facilities. And honestly, the biggest thing that really got me here were the coaches. They really care about you here. Everybody's a big family, and everyone just kind of makes sure you're taken care of no matter what. So yeah, that was honestly the biggest thing that drew me here once I got to come up here and meet everyone.
And so you got to get on this team, like you said, at a good time. They made the NCAA tournament every year. You've been on the roster. Kind of what was your first impression of like that first week or maybe that very first practice? Just kind of what was that intensity like when you kind of went from like, oh, I'm not in high school anymore. This is Division II college football.
So I'm a little bit outside the average. I like the challenge. So honestly, I was super excited. I was super stoked that I would get to go against these All-Americans, all-conference dudes every day in practice. I was able to get better and learn from them because, you know, they've been playing a lot more football than I had. So in that aspect, I was super excited. But also in the back of my mind, I guess I had a little bit of nervousness that if I was going to be able to cut it at the Division II level. There was a little bit of that angst, but, you know, I just went out every day and did my best, and we're here now.
Was there ever a moment where you felt like in practice, or maybe it was a game situation where you're like, all right, I can hang with these guys. Like I can do it and I can be pretty good.
I can't really think of, you know, one specific instance, I guess. Usually for me, I still kind of, you know, even after the word, I still get those thoughts if I'm still good enough. So, you know, I've never once, I guess, had that thought where I'm like, yeah, I'm the best one out here. But there's always a little part of myself that's going to keep questioning, am I the best? What can I do to make myself the best? And I'm still going to keep trying to be the best.
Well, you said, like you said earlier, you're a little bit undersized for a defensive lineman. Did they try to, during that recruiting process, did they try to tell you like, hey, we're gonna move you a linebacker, maybe keep you on the edge? Did you play edge a lot in high school, or was it more just anywhere on the defensive line that needed a hole filled?
I mainly played on the edge in high school. When I got recruited up here, I got told I was being recruited as a quote unquote athlete. I did stay with the D line the whole time though. I think honestly, I just ended up proving myself and then I could hold my own there.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of being able to just work out what I was doing for the last few years. I was able to get, I would say, pretty decent at it. And I was able to hold my own there and I stayed there.
And, you know, I guess take us through a little bit of your routine. Kind of what does an average day look like for Marcus Hansen? Kind of what are you doing during the football season?
During the football season, it's a very busy time. So right now, I would usually be getting up in the morning. Tuesday, Thursdays, we have lift. And right now for a class, I'm actually working with a client as like kind of a personal training thing. So usually right after lifting, I'll go work out with my client. And then I'll come home, get some breakfast, and then I got class. And I'll be at class one morning, and then we have meetings right after. I'll try to grab a quick lunch in between class and meetings, and then practice. And then I'm usually back after practice, back home, getting dinner ready, trying to get some homework done for the night, and then just get my feet up and rest. And then, you know, go to bed around 10, 11, and then do the whole thing over the next day.
You probably don't get a lot of free time, especially during the season, but what do you like to do in that limited free time that you have? You like going to other sporting events on campus, or what do you guys do?
So a lot of my free time I usually spend working. I work at Sanford in the emergency department out there. I love it. It's like a second little family to me outside of the team. It's just a great group of people there. I actually really like spending a lot of my time there. So I work a lot, and then usually when I'm not working, I'm just kicking with the guys on the team.
You mentioned working with Sanford. If you can say kind of what led you to that job, what do you do, and what do you like about it?
Yeah, so I'm going to school as an exercise science major right now. I want to be a physical therapist when everything is all said and done. So I actually have a great opportunity out there right now. On weekends, when I'm not in season, I usually work with a physical therapist there. So it's a great hands-on experience for me later down the road. And then kind of just more as a full-time position, I work as like a secretary in the emergency department. So yeah, it keeps me very busy doing all that. And then on top of school and football.
I was gonna say, it feels like you don't have time for anything. That's a full plate of stuff you got on there.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Ian.
I was going to say, anything in particular that led you to that? Like, as a, when did you decide that that's kind of what you wanted to do? When was your epiphany moment?
Yeah. Honestly, I love being around athletics. I love being around sports. And I feel like physical therapy is just a way to kind of stay always around that. Yeah, and just kind of constantly be around athletics the rest of my life.
Do you feel like, I know you're still learning, and obviously you're still trying to gain all that experience, and you have a good opportunity to do that. Do you feel like doing some of that kind of stuff just helps you when you train, when you try and keep healthy and all that stuff? Do you feel like just kind of that knowledge and being around that has helped you in your football career?
Yeah, I feel like it's helped me a lot. It's, kind of taught me how to take better care of myself, things I need to be doing like outside of football to get my body like more rested, more healed. Things like that. And then, just again, down the road, it's going to help me out a lot when I'm trying to get into physical therapy schools.
Yeah. Awesome. So, obviously the regular season was a really fun ride. You guys were close to winning the conference. You guys got into the NCAA tournament. Just kind of, if you can, is there any memory you have of this season or any kind of one game in particular that sticks out to you?
Mm-hmm. For me, it was the Northern game. I think the Northern game was kind of just like a staple in my career as like kind of the first time, I went out and played college football. And I think that was just honestly for everyone involved in the game, it was a really good game for the Bees. I think we all like had a lot of fun that day, and it was just like felt like a big party, honestly. So I'd say the Northern game.
So any particular play from this season or even last season? I know you blocked a couple kicks or punts or last year even. Is there one particular play, like a sack or a big run stop that stands out to you that was like, yeah, that was the play that I remember the most from this season so far, anyways?
Yeah, I'm actually going to talk about one last season. This is probably my favorite play I've ever made in my entire football career. So we were playing Duluth. I was on kickoff. I was running down, and the guy that was trying to block me kind of like chopped at my legs a little bit, and I ended up doing a front flip over him and then making the tackle after that. So that was probably like my favorite play I've ever made ever in football.
Did you make sure the coaches stop back on film on that day and make sure that they rewatched that when you guys are looking that over?
Oh yeah, they replayed that one a lot, and it's been replayed a lot. So yeah, it's kind of that one was definitely my favorite play I've ever made. And
what
then
goes through your? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
And then just from this year, I would say probably my first sack. Was my first half a sack, I guess. I guess with Stephen Hoffman, we just kind of both worked the same move at the same time and got to the quarterback at the same time for a safety. It was just like a really cool moment that it almost felt like we were both just racing for this sack. And we weren't necessarily playing against a team, but we were kind of competing with each other.
I was going to say, what goes through your head when when you get ready to line up and the snap goes, is it just kind of a blur? Do you know exactly what you're doing? Do you kind of let your talent take over? What's going through your head when you step onto the field and the play starts?
Yeah, so usually nothing is going on in my head, to be honest. I'm the type of person that kind of likes to react to things more instead of just playing them out. I feel like it helps me play a little bit faster. So a lot of the time I actually don't like really plan anything or think about what I'm going to do before I really do it.
You talked about
Oh,
Hoffman. What's it like working with him? And you talked about kind of racing to get that sack, competing with each other a little bit. What's it like kind of with your battering mates on the D line, and what's it been like with them all season?
It's honestly just been a blast. Like, it feels like we're all just kind of brothers, just kind of hanging out. And like I said before, we all compete with each other. We all see who can get there the fastest. Like, we always have races, who's the strongest, who can jump the highest, things like that. So we're always competing with each other. But, at the end of the day, it's always a good time, and we all love each other.
is there any particular type of like pass rusher that you are? Maybe as an undersized guy, you're not quite a bull rush kind of guy. And I know you just said it's kind of just like, man, I shut my brain off and I just go for the quarterback maybe. But you focus more on your finesse moves or your speed, try to get around the edge. What do you focus a lot on?
I like to vary it a little bit just to keep people on their toes, just so they can't, kick really far back and not expect a bull rush, or just expect a bull rush and me not work speed. So I like keeping people on their toes, make them guess, and then when they do guess, I can win either way.
It's kind of fun in that way because it's like a mind game a little bit, and you're competing with that guy across from you. Do you like that kind of mind game? Do you like playing that, or what's that like?
Yeah, we always say that football is a game within a game. So you always have the mind games, all the confusion, all the misdirections. So things like that will help you at the end of the day win.
Yeah, because some people, they just obviously when you're just watching on the screen, you just kind of think they just kind of go, they do whatever. But seeing that part's really cool and getting to hear you talk about that and kind of break that down a little bit. And as you get ready for the postseason, and you had that selection show, you guys were at Hag Sauer for it. You guys got announced you're going to play Permian Basin. Did you know anything about Texas Permian Basin? Did you know anything about that matchup, or is it just, hey, we got another week to the season?
Yeah, we didn't know anything. We just kind of went in with the film we had, and just did what we had to do. At the end of the game, football is football. There's not much you can really change about it. So you just have to go out and compete.
Yeah, I mean, they were one of the better offenses in the country from a pure statistical standpoint, putting up like 43 points a game or something like that. And you guys held them to 3. And I thought, watching the game myself, that the D-line in particular was just – you guys were bullying them, man. It was not easy for them to run the ball. And when they did try to throw, it's you guys are in the backfield. They got to scramble out and try to make a play. What was working? Was it just like the offensive line wasn't having a particularly good day, or were you guys just on top of it?
Yeah, I would say we're on top of it. But that was a very good offensive line. Every team that we're going to play is going to be a very good team, top to bottom. It's not easy to make the college playoffs. There's only like 28 teams that make it out of 100 and some. So they were definitely a good line. But when you match us 4 against any 5 offensive linemen in the nation, I'm going to take our defense any day. I know what we've all trained through. I know what we've all been through as a D line, and I know the numbers we can put up. So yeah, I always like our odds.
There was a quote that you had in the on the BSU Beavers website that I really liked. You said the game plan was simple. We were going to go out and play with violence, and that's what we did. And you had 8 tackles in the game. You led the team. Just what went into kind of your individual performance? Was it just kind of instinct taking over? Did you feel like the game plan was really set up for you to have a big day, or did you just kind of keep doing what you've been doing all season?
Honestly, we just at the end of it was the game plan. We just played with violence. We wore them down towards the end of the game. They were getting a little bit tired. But yeah, like I said, we just kind of outworked them. And honestly, just the stats, they were all just hustle plays. We had everything fit out front side. Everyone was doing a great job doing what they were supposed to do, cutting back into the everyone pursuing to the ball, and I just happened to get there first. That's really all it was. But there's a lot of guys who could have made a lot more plays too. We just all kind of gang tackle at the end of the day.
And with that, with the Permian Basin team, and that was a team that won their conference, their first playoff game. They got to do all this kind of stuff. And you guys had played those playoff games before. I know that, even on the selection show, people were wondering if you guys were going to get in. And I know we talked with Bolty right after that, and he said, we always play with a chip on our shoulder. We're always ready to go out and play. But, did that mean a little bit like, hey, some people thought we couldn't get in, or we're kind of like that last team to get in a spot. We want to prove we can be here. Was that in your minds at all? Or was it just, hey, we got another game to go play. We just got to go out and win?
Yeah, like everyone keeps saying, we do have the playoff experience, and it really has helped, and I think it's shown up in a big way. We're just treating every playoff game like it's just another regular season game, because we've all been there before, so it's nothing new to anybody on the team.
Big thing that we talked about on our show this week was experience, and it looked like the experience of having those 2 prior playoff runs for this team really helped. Do you think that helped you kind of, maybe especially with like nerves before the game and just being there, knowing that environment? You think that played a big part in what helped you guys be so dominant?
Yeah, we like I said, we did all that we needed to do. We knew what we needed to do. So we just kind of went out and played with violence. Everyone was super calm. It felt like everyone knew what they were supposed to do. And we just, at the end of the day, just executed.
What do you know about Central Washington and about this team? Kind of what's the early game plan? I know you guys probably don't have a ton of tape on them or haven't really had the chance to take a deep dive, but what do you know about this team? And kind of, if you can, what's the simple game plan kind of that's been told to you guys throughout the week?
Yeah, I said it once and I said it again. We're keeping the game plan simple again. We're just going to go out, play with violence, and try to out physical the team, and do the same thing we did at UTPB.
It's kind of the simple things sometimes about. I've never played D-line, so correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes it's just like, hey, go get the ball, man. Like, if the running back's got it, get him on the ground. If the quarterback's got it, get him on the ground. And I'm sure there's more that goes into it, but from a simple-minded man like myself, that's kind of what I just envision you guys doing out there.
Yeah, it is pretty simple. My coach always says at D-line, you can either go straight to the right or to the left. So you have those 3 options. That's about all you can do.
You talk about the violence and you talk about trying to kind of set that tone when you feel it, and especially in a game like against Texas Permian Basin, do you kind of feel that when you can feel the other teams like they don't want to play us? Do you guys all kind of look at each other? Do you all know, or like what's that feeling like when you just know that like, hey, those guys on the other side of the football do not want to go against us right now?
Usually you can see it in their eyes. They always have the same expression. I guess I don't know really how to explain it, but you can tell when they're tired or when they're beat up or when they're worn down. You can really see it in the person's eyes.
Now, as you get ready for this game and you get to have it at the Chet, how special is that moment to get to have what, we think is probably the latest home game ever in BSU football history? How cool is it to get to have another game at the Chet, and you don't have to travel and you don't have to do all that stuff, and you can just go out and play on a field that you've been playing on all year?
Oh, it's awesome. And I'm also so thankful that it was this weekend too. I know a lot of us haven't been able to go home the last couple of years for Thanksgiving. So I think it's a good way to get some families up here for the game and to be able to celebrate the holidays together.
I was going to say, what do you guys do for Thanksgiving as a team? Do you guys kind of get some time to be excused? Do you do something as a team? Is it kind of, hey, everybody gets the option to do what they want? What's it like kind of spending the holidays with the team and like you said, kind of a family up here?
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. We are a family, so we have our family meals together. We have dinner together. So it's just like we're back at home with the rest of our family, but just our Bemidji family.
And so with this team in Central Washington, and you guys are getting ready to play them, and I know you guys are focusing on this game at hand, but you have a chance to, like you talked about, be the first, and you could be the first team in BSU history to get into that quarterfinal and get to go into be one of only 8 teams in Division II football remaining. Does that kind of stick with you in your head? Like, hey, like this is a goal, like we see it, we want to go get it? Or, has it been like you've been saying, just kind of, are you treating this kind of like a business? Like we just got to get this done and we got to focus on it?
I would say it's more of a business thing. At the end of the day, we're chasing the national championship, chasing that ring. So we just see this as kind of another step into getting that goal.
What did it mean to you to win the NSIC Defensive Player of the Year? Was that a little bit of like a validation towards all the hard work that you've been putting in over the years, and it just feels kind of good? I'm sure you're probably not solely focused, like you said, on individual awards. There's a bigger picture at the end of the tunnel right now. But what did that mean to you to get that award?
Yeah, I would say it's like personally really cool for me, just because more of the fact of my size and the things that I was able to do just because of my hard work. And I feel like this is a way for me to show other people that necessarily aren't the biggest, aren't the fastest, aren't the strongest, that you can do a lot of things if you just work hard.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any specific part of like being a defender that gets you more excited? Like, are you more excited to get the sacks, or do you just like shutting down, because you guys had one of the better run defenses in the conference? Do you pride yourself more on that, or you like getting after the passer a little bit more?
I really just like hitting people. That's it. That's why I play defense. It doesn't matter who I'm hitting, the person with the ball, or if you don't have the ball, I'm going to hit someone.
Fair enough. And I was going to ask earlier, did you play in high school at all? Did you play two ways? Did you play any offense?
Yeah, I actually played offensive line. I played guard and tackle. I was a bigger kid in high school.
Mm-hmm.
One of the bigger kids in my high school. It was kind of a smaller school. So, I did double duty.
With the defense you guys have, and like we've talked about, good run defense, you guys have been able to be really good on the defensive line. What's it like working against, one of the top offenses in the conference as well, with Alt and with the wide receivers and the running backs? I mean, what's it like to kind of go against that offense every day in practice? And how do you feel like it helps you guys as a defensive unit prepare for any offense in the country?
Yeah, I was going to say, you've already seen the product. Going against, we have All-Americans on that side of the ball. We have all conference people on that side of the ball. So be able to go against those type of people in practice, just elevates your own skills and their skills too. Because we have a lot of great players on this team that can elevate each other.
You won the conference defensive player of the year, and you obviously still have a lot of years left here at Bemidji State. How cool is it to get that award younger in your career and know that kind of this is just the start? You can kind of keep building, and you kind of get to see this Beavers team kind of keep pushing through the next few years and see them kind of keep taking those steps. Even after, some of these guys who helped get us to this point, get Bemidji State here, you can kind of keep carrying on that torch as you get to be a part of their run, but also get to kind of have your own run over the next few years as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say a little disappointing. I won't get to chase anybody now. And that's one of my favorite things, is to chase people, to, have that competition between someone, or who knows, maybe someone next year can even put up similar numbers to me. That would be really exciting. Just to have that constant competition, who's going to win it. And not only try to outperform the team I'm playing, but outperform another individual in the conference.
What's it like? Go ahead, Ian.
No, you go ahead. It's probably more on topic than mine would have been.
What's it like playing at Chet Anderson Stadium, and what's it been like? Is there any kind of particular game? I know we've talked to some other players who've said, that Mankato game this year was really big, seeing that crowd. Is there any kind of moment for you that stuck out this year or last year or even the year before where you're like, this is a pretty cool home environment right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna have to say the Mankato game too. Never seen the Chet that packed before, that loud. It was just such a cool environment to be in.
Well, we're hoping we can get it like that again this weekend. It'll be a little bit chillier than that game was, but I mean, we're doing the best we can to try to get people up there. I know that they're giving away tickets, a 100-ticket giveaway or something like that. Just try to get some people in attendance, because that would be awesome. I was there last year for the playoff game, and it was, I think, a combination of early Thanksgiving break. Students weren't really there. It was like under 5 degrees, so it was pretty cold. So I can understand why people would want to. Yeah, but do you think that helps you as a defense play in the cold up there? Now you'll have a team from Washington that, like we kind of talked about, is probably used to the cold better than teams from Texas are. But you think you use that at all to your advantage, and does that help a defense? I mean, probably does more than an offense. But what's that like, playing in a game like that cold?
It's really a cool feeling, especially when you're at home, because you're like, oh, this is my house. I'm used to this. You have to come play here. because this is like, this is my place. So it almost feels like kind of a dominance thing to me when we do have those really crappy weather games. But yeah, you just don't let it be a factor in the game, and especially as a defense, kind of use that to your advantage. And I personally feel like it motivates me a little bit more to play a little bit harder because I know the person across me might, have the weather in the back of their mind and they're not fully focusing on playing.
The cold gets talked about a lot with Chet Anderson Stadium, but you're also right off the lakes. There's a little bit kind of that batter's eye perspective if you're a team. There's sometimes the wind gusts that come off the lake. Is there any kind of underrated aspect or underrated home field advantage aspect that Chet Anderson Stadium has? Or is it pretty much like, I don't know, it can get pretty loud and it gets pretty cold?
I would say it's really just the weather that really gets you, because you can look at the radar all you want, but it's probably going to be 10 degrees colder than what it says.
Yeah, it always feels a lot more chip when the breeze is coming off the lake. That's definitely what gets you, even as a fan there standing around. But I was going to ask earlier, is there any player that you particularly grew up watching? You said you played D-line for your whole life. Is there any player you particularly grew up watching that you tried to either model your game around or that you just enjoyed watching? Or is there anybody in the league right now that you enjoy watching?
Yeah. So I'm a Vikes fan, so I have to say I'm a really big fan of Daniel Hunter. Love watching him, especially with, the years having this year. He's probably going to have a defensive player of the year, year two. So, that's it's super cool what he does. I try to watch, a lot of defensive linemen, especially in the league, especially ends. Try to just pick up ideas from what they do, see what they do, because, they're at the most elite level. So I try to mimic my play after bits and pieces of each defensive end throughout the league.
Are you doing that Aaron Donald drill where he's got like the guy with the knife and he's kind of coming at him like that? Or have you tried that yet?
Not quite. I haven't upgraded to knives yet. It's still working with other people's hands.
We've talked about this a little bit before with your future and what you want to do kind of with your degree and going into physical therapy. Is there any other kind of ambitions that you have outside? Do you ever plan on, is there some kind of professional level, whether it's in the US, Canada, overseas, or is there any kind of other thing? Do you want to go into maybe coaching someday, whether it's, college level, high school level, or is it, hey, I just want to get to school with my degree and have my career and kind of enjoy this time I have?
I'm going to say that football conversation is going to be a future Marcus problem. I still haven't figured that one out yet, to be honest, and I still got a little bit of time too. So I think I'm going to ride this season out and just keep grinding out football and school and just kind of see where things end up taking me in the next couple of years.
Ian, you got any other questions?
It's kind of an opportunity thing, right? Like right now, those opportunities haven't necessarily presented themselves. If that comes up in the future, then maybe you look that way. But, it's always good. It's good to have a head on straight and have a plan just in case that call doesn't come around. So congratulations for having that plan. And it sounds like you really enjoy what you're hoping to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love what I do. I love working with the physical therapist. That's, always a highlight of my week. I love going to work every time I get to. I love playing football. So honestly, I'm just having a great time doing what I'm doing right now.
Do you feel like you want to get a job closer back home? Do you want to stay up in Bemidji? Do you just kind of hey, wherever I get a job is pretty much wherever I'll go?
Yeah. I think I'm going to be really open to opportunities. I'm still going to have to go to grad school after I'm done here at Bemidji. So I'll be figuring that out too. And, I don't know where I'm going to be at in the next 5 years. I can tell you, but I'll be doing something.
And Ian, I think if you don't have any other questions, I think I got one more. We can.
Yeah. Yeah. I got my must asks in. So.
So Marcus, I guess we'll just give you your chance here. We'll let you get on the soapbox. Why do you think Bemidji State football can make a run and get themselves deeper in the playoffs, not just past this week, but further? And like you said, trying to get to that national championship. We'll give you your soapbox here. Why can Bemidji State do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of all conference guys. We have a lot of high skilled guys on our team. We have a lot of guys who care. And who have invested a lot of time into this program. And And like my motto has been kind of my entire life, the more work you put in, the bigger the reward you're going to get out. And everyone on this team has put in a lot of work. So I think we'll be able to make a deep run in the playoffs this year.
Marcus Hansen, the NSIC Defensive Player of the Year, a standout for Bemidji State this year. It's been really awesome to get to see you ball out this year. It's been really awesome to be able to join us here on the podcast. And best of luck this coming weekend. And we hope we get to be talking about you guys for the next couple of weeks here going in as well. We appreciate you joining on the podcast, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you for having me.